Welcome to TopFormz. TopFormz is great for early years learning assessments. So let's just go into TopFormz and have a look. So what you'll notice is that there's an early years learning framework section, and it's broken up into different age groups. 3 to 5 years, 2 to 3 years, 1 to 2 years, 8 to 12 months, 4 to 8 months, and 0 to 4 months. So in this case, I'm going to be completing an assessment for a 3 to 5 year old child. So I just want to go into that section, and then I'm going to start my assessment by clicking on the plus button. And the plus button is really to add a new record. So what I want to do is add a child. So before I can do that, what you'll notice is that there's no data available. So I just want to add one of the children in care. And in this case, I'm going to call the child Morgan Taylor. I'm going to choose a parent. What you'll notice is there is already a parent name in there. I can add a photo ID, which is really useful, especially when we have quite a few assessments, because it's easy to identify which assessments really relate to which child, and then I can add the scheme. So this other information about the bond has got nothing to do with the EYLF assessments. As you can see, you don't have to enter that information. There's also some other information in there about your regular outings and excursions, which is not really required for an EYLF assessment, so you don't need to enter that information. So let's just save that. So once we've saved that, we can then go and see which physical milestones have been observed. And in this case, there are actually quite a few of them. Okay, so I'm just going to leave some out. And it's just really for example purposes. And then, you can add in some comments here about Taylor's moments on the swing. And we can add in a whole bunch of comments there. We can then go and tick off the social milestones, which we've observed. And we can make a comment about the social milestones, whatever we want to add. Same thing with your emotional milestones. And you can make a comment on emotions. I'm not going to add in a lot of detail here, but you'll kind of get the idea of it. And then you'll continue with a cognitive comment, and then the language milestones. And in this case, she's actually achieved most of them, and we can, comment on that. Then there's a section which just goes into seek advice in certain situations. So if there's any problems, if you want to add any other supporting documentation, there's a section for that, and you can just click on that to add any files. You can then also link it to outcomes of the early years learning framework. Okay, and what you want to do is, if you know what early years learning framework outcome you want to link it to, you can just start typing in here. Okay, so if it's got to do with well-being, you just type, and all of those items that have to do with well-being will come up, and you can just tick off on those items. And the same thing with the national quality standards. You just click on those which are applicable. Then if you want to send the report to yourself, you can do that by saying send to educator. Otherwise, you don't need to send it. You can just save it. So what we're going to do now is we'll just click on that item, and you can see there's all of the comments and everything. If we want to see it in the print format, we're just going to click on print. You use the 3 dots up at the top, and you'll see that it's going to print in a totally different format. It's nice, easy to see. You can see the physical milestones which have been observed, the ones that we're still busy working on, and how we're really going to be working on those items, and how it is broken up into the different milestones, and right at the end, how it links to the early years learning framework outcomes and the national quality standards. So it's really easy and simple. And then if you want to go back into this at a later stage, and you want to email it to yourself, you just click on that little pencil, and we go right down to the bottom, and we click on yes, send to the educator and update. that will then send you an email. And once you have actually received that email, you can then forward that on to the parents.